Hey crafty cuties! Welcome back to Paper Terrace. If you're new, my name is Jessica, and if you like junk journals, handmade journals, anything paper crafting, I upload almost every day on this channel. I do lives and I share lots of different tutorials with you guys, so I would love for you to stay. Also leave me a comment down below if you're new so that I can say hello. Okay, today we are going to do a very quick journal that's going to be so cute. Now, because I want this to be a very quick version, it's going to be more of a non-decorated. It's still a junk journal because we're using a variety of papers, but we're going to keep it undecorated so that we can get it done in 10-15 minutes. So if you want to see me decorate it, because that's when it will really bring it to life and it'll turn it into magic, just make sure you're subscribed because I will have a part 2 at some point where we can embellish it, add some dangles and things like that. So I'm going to be using a digital. I actually printed real vintage records, and so I have these digitals. I will link them below. I'm guessing I don't have them listed right now, but they should be available on my website, on my Patreon shop. And for my Patreon members, I am sharing just the covers. So there's 4 different records, but we're turning it into a junk journal. And by the way, if you don't want to purchase these, digitals, you can do another version of this journal idea. You can still make it a 10-15 minute journal, and you could just use scrapbook paper in the place of the digital here. You could use a book cover. You could use like a cute Christmas book page and decorate it. So you do not have to have my printable, but this will make it pretty fast and cute. So yeah, there are these 4 in the set that I am selling on my website and Patreon shop. And then again, for my Patreon members, I'm sharing just the covers. And again, you can do a lot with just the cover. So let's get started. So you'll just need something for your cover, which I'm going to be using the front, the back, and the record for the cover of my journal. You'll need pages, and I'm going to say go with like 20 pages. I'll show you real quick. I have some ephemera, stationery, striped lined paper. You can even use envelopes, treat bags. I have coffee dyed papers. You could use if you don't have a variety of papers, I mean, I bet you do. Just go through your craft area wherever you keep your crafty things. You can use doilies. I have embossed papers. Book pages are a great one. I have Christmas stationery. I do have a great selection thanks to Ramona at Junk Journal Creations. But honestly, just use your imagination. Look, I'm using tags, treat bags, cards, things like that. This could be really cute to add a bunch of cards. And I do have some scrapbook paper. So I have 20 sheets. And then, so for my binding system, I'm using one of these spirals. Now I do have a cinch machine that you can use for this, but guess what? When I want to make a 10-15 minute journal for like a gift or something, I don't want to pull out my tools. So we're not even using the cinch machine. We're just using the spiral. So that if you like this, you don't have to go buy a cinch machine. You can just buy the spirals. I got them on Amazon. I got a big pack actually. All of these right here. I'm sure it was under 10 bucks. I'll have that linked below. Any other supplies that I used. What else? If you don't have this or you don't want to use a spiral, you can punch holes and use things like binder clips. You can tie with some thread, or not thread, but like some kind of trim. You can bind it how you normally would. I don't know. There's lots of different ideas, but again, this will be a very quick version. So I think we're going to get started. Okay, let's start with cutting out our printables. I want to include all of this. I'm looking at my clock. So 4 minutes. I'm gonna see how quick we can make a quick little journal. So since these are actual scans of a record, they do have the wobbly edges, and you can get creative and cut it out all exactly how it is on the printable, if that makes sense, kind of like this. You could use a ruler and tear it. Actually, that might be fun. so that it's not perfect, or do clean cut if that's what you like. These are a little over like 7 inches by 7 inches, I think it was. Now, just so you know, since these are real, scans, when I first printed these out, for some reason, the front and back was not lining up. And I'm like, there's no way, they're the same size. But my printer was not set to print at like 100%. So definitely make sure that your printer is set to print at 100% if you're ever trying to line a front and back up of something. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, we'll just make it imperfect like that. And I have a fun little tip for the record to make it look a little bit more realistic. I'll show you that in just a sec. Let's see if we can continue this. I printed these on a heavier cardstock. Oh boy, was it 65 pound, I think? And normally I just use printer paper, but since I knew this was going to be a journal cover, I wanted it to be a little bit thicker. I haven't used my cinch machine in such a long time, and I've been wanting to do a spiral journal. They're so much fun. Really great for being able to add things after it's made. I was thinking that maybe I'll use this one for myself for like a Christmas card holder. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do actually, because I've already been getting lovely Christmas cards in the mail from you guys, and thank you so much. Okay, we'll just cut this out just as is. I forgot to make sure that I printed this one at 100%, so I'm just gonna hope that it was the correct size. Now, I know going around the curves can be a little bit tricky, so just, I'm kind of pushing the paper down into the scissors while I'm like turning the paper to go along with the curve, if that makes sense. Now, if you can't get this perfectly on the edges, no worries. We can use like some black or dark ink around the edges, which I will probably do. So I was playing around with this printable last night. It was so much fun. Unfortunately, yesterday at 3 a.m., my daughter woke up vomiting, and then she vomited every hour for half the day, and then she was sick the rest of the day. So she obviously didn't go to school. We had to miss Thanksgiving. It was really sad. Luckily, my son is okay, and luckily so far I'm okay, and she woke up today feeling much better. But we just had lots of couch time, so I was actually playing around with these printables while she was resting, and I came up with a really fun way to make this record look a little bit shiny, and it was by using Mod Podge. I did film a little clip, so I might go ahead and overlay that video, but essentially I just took some gloss Mod Podge and used a brush to brush it over, and I tried to make strokes that went around like the center of it, if that makes sense. And then I would have probably, I think I will do a second coat. I didn't yet, but let me show you what it looks like. So, oh yeah, you can see. So I think a second coat would be better because it will show us those marks a little bit better versus this one. Now, if you don't have this to compare to, it's not a big deal. So for your spiral, I actually cut them in half, and that's about the perfect size that I want. And I just used an old pair of scissors wherever they went. But go ahead and just kind of mark where you want yours. Yeah, we'll go right about there. And I literally just, boom. Couldn't find my wire cutters. So we'll have one of those out. We're not gonna worry about this right now. We're just gonna work on getting this all together. Now, I'm not decorating per se, but I do wanna have it look like finished enough that, again, if you wanted to give this as a gift and you only had, 20 minutes or so, you could hopefully put this together in that amount of time. I didn't time it the first time around, so I'm not exactly sure. This will just kind of give that realistic look that it's actually an old record player, what do we call this? I don't know. Record sleeve, I think. And since I have those rugged edges, inking up the edges like this kind of just helps that look even more realistic. And then same with this one. And see, if you don't cut perfectly fine, it's gonna be fine. Yeah, that's not the best job, but that's fine. Okay, I think we're good there. Part of me wants to go to the sewing machine to put this together, but I'm just gonna go ahead and glue it. Because again, if we're rushing, we don't have time for the sewing machine. Okay, so you wanna line these up, front and back. Now you could use this as the front cover and use this as the back cover if you didn't wanna put this together as a pocket, but I love the idea of actually putting it together. So I'm just going to glue 3 edges, and you wanna glue on the very edge so that our record can slide in. Trying not to over glue it because it is a tight fit, so you could also play around with printing the record out a different size if you want it a little bit smaller. It's a tight fit because the original record sleeve wasn't glued shut like this, you know? Like the edges were open. I hope that makes sense. But we're gonna make it work. Okay. There are frogs out there. And if it doesn't match up perfectly on the back, again, you can just add more ink. That's not really going to be very noticeable when we have it all together, but just so you know. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it jagged like that. Now, we will wanna let this dry before we put this in, but I'm just gonna see if it will slide in there. Yes, it is a tight fit, so you'll wanna wait until that's dry. If you want, you can cut like a little half circle so that it's obviously a little pocket, but I want mine to be kind of not as obvious. Now let's go ahead and cut down all of our papers, and I'm using a paper trimmer so that I can do this quickly. I'm going to try to, let's see, I want them to be about no bigger than, I'm gonna test one real quick just before I do all of them. 7 inches, I think, by 7 inches. The fun thing about this binding method is that all of your pages can actually be right side up, the right way. Let me just double check and make sure. You just don't want it to be any bigger than your cover, or at least I don't. Okay, so 7 by 7. Just gonna line up a big bunch of them. We're just doing single papers here. We're not folding anything like you might be used to. I will start by trimming this one down. Let's see. 7. Do love my trimmer for this reason, because I can do a bunch at once. Trying to keep them all together. 7 by 7. Okay, just gonna set those to the side. And I'm going to have this one be my back, I think. Actually, sorry, I'm gonna take 2. Okay, we'll cut this down, 7 by 7. I didn't add too much scrapbook paper, but maybe we'll just, you can do different sizes too. So like, I mean, anything under 7 by 7 will be great too. Now I want to have something a little bit thicker for my back cover. And I want these to be just about the same size as that record sleeve. So let me get the exact measurement. It's about 7 1/4 actually. And I also have, I'm gonna turn this printable into something else eventually, which you'll see. Just gonna go like, whoops. I kind of brought the corner up, but that's okay. Anything to make it more realistic. Okay, since I didn't have double-sided paper, okay, wait, sorry. Let me get all of this out of our way. Since I didn't have double-sided paper, I'm just using 2 pieces of scrapbook paper, front and back. And honestly, maybe I'll just make this a pocket as well. So I will glue 3 sides, keeping the right-hand side open. Line those up. So that's our back page, back cover. This is our front cover. That is a tight squeeze, so we'll work with that in a minute though. And then I think the kitty is out there messing with Arlo. Okay, for this one, I think I will, well, we'll just leave it. It's a little bit bigger, but that's okay. So now I'm just placing everything how I want it, right on top of each other. We've got coffee dyed paper. I'm gonna use some ephemera. You want everything to line up on the left-hand side, if that makes sense. I think it probably does make sense. We've got ledger paper, some graph paper, wrapping paper. I'm gonna take this little card out while we're binding it. Some vintage book page. Like that. No, actually, sorry, we're gonna go the doily. That might be a little tricky to get in, but we'll try it anyways. I'm gonna add a envelope right about there. I guess maybe I don't need all of the things that I have. We'll go like that, and we'll put this right there. Do I want to add this? Yeah, I'm gonna, so this is folded and it has pockets. I think it won't be able to open like all the way flat, but I still think it'll be fun. So then careful, keep everything where you want it. Let's not have that in the pocket right now. This, I guess I probably need to trim a little bit. I have my trimmer down here, so I'm just gonna trim it down there. Now, if you need to use like some binder clips to keep everything together while we are punching holes. I guess earlier I forgot to say that you need something to punch holes with, but I believe in you. And I believe that you've got something, because even if you have to take a tack out of the wall, I believe that you can do it. Okay, I am going to use just a couple little binder clip type things to hold everything together. This might be a little bit of a tricky part, but find yourself a pencil if you can find one. Do I have a pencil? Should have got that earlier. I found one, because we're gonna mark where we need to punch our holes since we don't have, you know, the actual cinch. But so you're gonna take your spiral and just line it up where you want it. And it's gonna be about 1/4 of an inch the way in. And I'm gonna take, you'll kind of wanna hold this still, and then you're gonna mark a little pencil dot where the holes need to go. And if you need to use a ruler to make sure that they're all going to be the same amount in on the page, you can do that. It's actually pretty easy to do this. I will say I haven't done it in a while. Now I'm going to use my crocodile, but listen, if you don't have something that can punch through this many holes at once, then you can absolutely just mark on each page if you have to, or use one as a guide, and you'll go through each page and make sure. But I do feel that if you have something that can poke through all of the pages at once, that's probably going to give you a better result. And I'm deciding I'm going to go with the small side of my crocodile. And it is a little hard to see the little hole. I'm going to actually take a darker pen because the pencil is just not showing up enough for me to see through the little hole in my crocodile. Oh yeah, perfect. Okay, I was worried that like this wasn't a foolproof method, but you just need to be able to get those pieces out before you go. So you can probably see why, if you liked doing this method of binding, why having like a cinch machine would be awesome. But yeah, sometimes I just don't want to get mine out. Oh yeah, you can set your, if you have a crocodile, I forget that you can also set it so that you're going the exact width in. Yeah, the pen is way better. So I think more realistic. So my intro was like 4 minutes long and we're at about 20 minutes in. So yeah, I feel like 20 to 30 minutes you could do this. And once you do one, if you do this like one time, we have, you know, learned a lot that's gonna make it go faster next time. Now keep your clips on for this next part. Oh my gosh, don't tell me those holes are not big enough. But you know what? That's why we do this here, so that so that we learn together. Okay, well, this would have saved time had I, okay, you need to do the normal size. So that's probably good for those of you who just have a regular hole punch. Let's try that again. So now we have all of our regular sized holes. We're gonna take our spiral and it really should go in pretty smooth. Okay, yes. I remember when I was making these cinch bound journals a while back, there was some little trick that if you put the front page on the back when you bind these, that like, I don't know, the pages turn smoother on the coils. I can't remember. And so, I mean, you can do it this way too. Now we don't have this cinch machine to close it shut. So this part, you're just gonna have to use your little fingers. And I'm just gonna go through and squeeze them shut. You don't have to have much force at all. Is this gonna be 100% perfect? No, but you can sit here and mess with it to get it pretty dang close, you know? In fact, I'm just gonna try to, and so you just wanna push those so that the coils meet to the other side. And yeah, again, this material, it's not like super tough, I guess you could say. So you could really sit here and mess with it so that it looks really nice if you are like kind of a perfectionist. But I just really doubt, because I feel like even when you use the cinch to have them look all nice and uniform, after a while, these coils do kind of move around. So it's just not really gonna be that noticeable unless you're sitting there staring at it. There you go. So once you have them all, see, I just have them about like that, and you can kind of put those to the back like that. I think that looks nice. Let's take these off. Let's go ahead and put, and just a little tip, if you want your record to go in way easier, because again, maybe you're not good with the glue, or you know, if the glue is going to squeegee its way down, you're gonna probably have to cut your record just a little bit smaller. But another option, like I was mentioning earlier, is if you sew along the edges and just sew right on that edge, that will be closer to what the real record sleeve was like. But you could also just trim your record like a little bit smaller. you know? So I'm gonna have mine peek out, I think. I don't know, when we go to decorate and embellish it later, I will probably get creative and do something fun with this. I'm not exactly sure what, but we will have some time to think about that. And look how adorable this is. Imagine just adding, like, so even if you don't have time to come back, embellish, and, you know, let's say you had to take this to a party right now or whatever, you could just take one single ornament or something like that. And the fun thing about the coils is that it's pretty easy to tie things on here. I just took this one. My kitty is being naughty out there. You know, you could just do the single one right here, since let's say we don't have time. Of course, it's going to be bulky, but it's adorable, and you could remove that. I want to show you one quick little trick. So this is an example of, I didn't have everything all the way to the edge, so you can see that that didn't get on, but that's fine. I actually was going to show you a little trick here. So if you're getting Christmas cards in the mail, also thank you, Julie, go ahead and figure out where the holes are, like put a little dot just like we did with the coils, punch your holes, and then you're gonna take some scissors and you're gonna snip like a little piece out so that they are this shape. This is going to give you the ability to add anything back to your coil, and it's gonna stay. So I might have to do that with that postcard. I think this is probably good for you to see my first round of this journal, because then you actually got to see all of the little things that I might not think to mention if I were recording it like after I had perfected it, you know? I always like to give you guys a good idea of what it's really going to be like your first time. So hopefully you can see what shape that is. And then you should be able to just line it up to your coils, and you're going to kind of push that little piece, the little middle pieces, I guess, between the coils. So that is a really fun way to be able to add things in. You might have to mess with it, and I lined it up so that it was down here. So I might have to punch one more hole, but I think you get the point. You'll be able to move it around and everything. Since I accidentally did this one too close to the edge, I'm just gonna glue this on the back here as a little pocket. So I think my final tips for you is to, one, make sure that all of your papers are all the way to the left-hand side. If you're going to be punching holes through your whole stack, it might be a better idea to punch the holes individually. That's gonna take longer though, of course. So, you know, just make sure that everything's to the left-hand side. Make sure you do a regular size punch, at least for these spirals, and you should be golden. So this is a really fun journal, and honestly, spiral journals like this are so much fun to play around with, and you can get everything to lay nice and flat, and you can add such a variety of things that you wouldn't normally think to add to a journal, things like shakers and stuff, and this was so much fun to create with you. It's so cute. Can't wait to see what you guys think. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.